Hello, it's Scott Manley here, taking a look at Star Citizen Arena Commander 1.0. It's finally got a lot more stable. The developers that stayed behind over Christmas break have done, wonderful things, and I feel sorry for for everything. But yeah, I'm flying the Mustang Omega around the racetrack here. Just to show you how it compares against the Mustang Delta, and the truth is, they're practically the same. Now, also interesting to note is they've added some more scenery to the background of this racetrack. There's a lot more billboards and stuff. For example, there is a new billboard right there that I'm dodging around, trying to find a slightly more optimal path through the track here. The billboards all contain advertising for in-game entities. There's no advertising for other games or anything, at least not yet, and one hopes that it remains entirely in-universe at this point. Anyway, at least for the next few days, the Mustang Omega represents the cheapest way to get into Star Citizen and the cheapest ship you can buy. This is because it was distributed as a free code with AMD graphics cards, and there were some issues with some retailers where the codes were available for next to nothing. So people acquired these codes and then they have been reselling them on like the Star Citizen Trades Reddit. Anyway, 115.9 is not bad. I can get my 350R to under 105, so it's not close to the pace, which means in a race it pretty much isn't going to compete against the best and most expensive ships. However, it is the cheapest racing ship you can buy. Now, this is the Mustang Gamma. The Mustang Gamma is very, very similar. The main difference that most people see is that it has a blue paint job instead of a red paint job. It also costs about $60 in the store. But if you have a Mustang Omega, you can get a code which will convert, or a chassis upgrade, which will convert it from the Omega to the Delta to the Gamma. You cannot convert it in the other direction. However, yeah, because you can get the Omega for as little as $30 right now, this is a good deal if you're interested in getting into the game. The way to get the Mustang Omega codes is to go on Reddit and look at the Star Citizen Trades Reddit, or some people are selling them on eBay. Again, $30 seems to be about the going price. It was as low as $20 recently, but when the upgrade became available, people jumped on it and pushed the price up just a little. So anyway, 113, yeah, they're essentially identical. Now, the other one that I wanted to look at is the Mustang Delta. This is the premium Mustang model. This is a limited time that's in the store for. If you miss it, then it may come back later, but right now it is the most badass Mustang you can buy, coming with these rockets. So the rockets are dumbfire rockets. They basically shoot forward a low rate of fire, but if you can get them on target, and you'll see me doing this quite a bit here, it is really quite devastating if you can get your missiles on the target here. There's another one of these. Vandul. This is Vandul Swarm. I'm up to level 5 of 18. I killed another Vandul. You can see my ship's taken some damage in the top right there. So the Mustang Delta is probably the most heavily armed spacecraft except for the Super Hornet. The Super Hornet easily beats it out in terms of firepower. However, one thing that the Delta is missing is guided missiles. It has no guided missile system installed by default. And indeed, according to the brochure, as far as I can tell, there's no way to install any. So you have to entirely fly this and put the guns on the target and kill things the old-fashioned way, which seems like a lot of fun, and indeed it's quite enjoyable using this glass cannon. I mean, this literally will get wiped out by the first big whack against it. Its shields are pretty wimpy, and its structural integrity suffers greatly when enemy weapons are delivered onto it, so to speak. There we go. Now, two of the guns are on a nose turret, and you can see that I'm deflecting the turret around. That is using track IR, which means I turn my head a little and the guns track towards it. It isn't necessarily the best way to aim. Largely because there's a big learning curve. I'm sure people do it and they do it well. I tried it and I am utterly terrible at it. However, maybe I will learn to use this. So anyway, we go into Wave 6. And this is where the Mustang's lack of guided missiles and its fragility really shows it up. Because Wave 6, every third wave, has hostiles which are elite units. And the elite units just love to use their missiles. And apparently the night before the 1.0 release, Chris Roberts asked them to buff the missiles a little more. And he got his wish, he got his Christmas wish, and missiles are absolutely amazing. Which is great until you realise that you don't have any, and it doesn't take long for to start getting on the receiving end of these. I'm sure there are people that will be able to fly through this a lot better than me, but I found myself very quickly outmatched, at least for as much time. I only had a couple of chances to play it. It does feel great taking out those Vandal with those rockets. If you can get it on target. Oh, there comes a missile. Missile evaded. Now, of course, this might just be a big test for the signature system. It turns out that the countermeasures are designed to work very well with the signature system, although it's not quite as you'd expect. First of all, the flares generate both electromagnetic and infrared signatures, whereas the chaff generate a cross-section that occludes your spacecraft. So at least in this release, you don't need to swap between countermeasures types. Truthfully, you will probably be hit by the missiles and killed regardless of what you do with countermeasures at this time. I will say that a lot of people, when they have incoming missiles, they think they can fly like Tom Cruise and dodge around the missile. The problem is, when you start dodging in a spacecraft, you are firing your thrusters. And when you're firing through your thrusters, you're increasing your signature, right? The real way to do it, apparently the pros tell me, is to dump some chaff, dump some flares, and don't change your course at all. Of course, that makes you a sitting duck for the good old-fashioned guns. The other thing I would say right now is that you have 4 countermeasures in your typical countermeasure launcher, and even the Auroras have 4 missiles, so you're going to find yourself out countermeasured very quickly. Here's a Vandal Scavenger. Let's try and take him down before the bad guys see me and realize, because as soon as they come at me with those missiles, I'm not going to last very long. I have to keep my head more or less pointed exactly forwards, otherwise what happens is my nose turret will point in a different location from my wing guns. There's actually a hotkey that will change this, but I can never remember what that is in the middle of a fight. And incoming missile! Ah, bang! Okay, and this is really fun because my ship just spins completely out of control here. Yes, all my shields and everything are hit. This is completely uncontrollable, and on the exterior, yes, you can see there was wings, but there wasn't much else attached to my spacecraft. It was really odd. Anyway, let's try this in a PvP battle. So yes, I join in my super premium Delta fighter. The battle has been going for 3 minutes already, apparently, so I'm late to the game and people are already scoring well ahead of me. Yeah, this is perfectly normal, or at least it's perfectly common. I haven't found ways to reduce this unless I deliberately host private matches and try to get everyone in the lobby first. If you're just going to join a random battle, then you'll pretty much join the first battle you find. Anyway, here's Jack's wagon. He is in a Hornet, and somebody's locking onto me. I'm not sure who that is, but missile coming in, and I die. I was killed by someone called Hate Fury. Anyway, yeah, missiles are a little overpowered at this time, and so everybody's using them. The people that don't use missiles don't tend to score. There's no World War II dogfighting going on right now because we have entered the days of the guided missile, and the guided missile rules everything at this time. So while this Delta is really good in a close-up knife fight, it's able to put a lot of damage onto a target and move around relatively quickly and agilely. Unfortunately, it just gets obliterated at long range by missiles. This is all arena based. It would be really nice in the long term to have some sort of rules-based battles. So you could, you know, set up an arena that only allowed spacecraft to use guns instead of missiles. So you could guarantee that it would be all about the dogfighting. You see me here throwing these unguided rockets at this guy trying to hit him. And they're slamming into that asteroid behind him. He's sneaking around through here. Missiles zipping up above and below, and I hit him! I killed Colonel H! Oh, ow! And there we go. And you know what this jerky spinny motion means? It means I've lost my wings. I lost my upper and lower wings. And in fact, if you look, there's actually a huge hole through the middle of the spacecraft. So I think actually what's happened is the main engine has been obliterated, and the game engine's center of mass moment of inertia calculations are just going wacky. It's like a massless part in Kerbal Space Program. Once the core of the ship is gone, at least that's what I'm thinking is happening here. Anyway, I'm not going to bother showing you the rest of this battle. It did not go well. I failed to score a single other kill after that first lucky one. And the rest of the time I was getting shot down by missiles. So you see in 7th place, Analog. That is of course Analog Rebellion, the very nice person that loaned me his hangar so I could try out all of the Mustang models. I only have a Mustang Omega, and I'm almost certainly going to convert my Omega into an Avenger, since I already have a racing ship. Anyway, given the power of missiles, I thought, let's do something stupid. Let's take an Aurora, and this is the one I have, the Aurora LN. It has 4 missiles on it. I'm just going to try and see if I can use the power of the missiles and win a battle in an Aurora. Unfortunately, the game has seen fit to put me into the middle of a battle which has been going on for 6 minutes, and somebody has already got 6,000 points, so they're almost halfway to winning. Surely it's not possible to catch up. Well, let's start with Maddock. He is my first potential victim. I immediately cycle targets onto the next one. The missiles on this Aurora LN will actually lock out to quite a long range, let's say. Okay, so Safarnik is still alive, and the missile burns out, so launch another one. And I die, but I kill Safe Milk, that's his name. And you'll notice that I get a bunch of extra points for things like a revenge kill, because we both fired missiles at each other, but his missile killed me first. However, my missile then killed him a moment later, so I get more points than him because I scored a revenge kill. Try to figure that one out. Anyway, the big problem with the Aurora is that it's slow, so you have to get within a 4-kilometer range to be able to actually launch your missiles. That's one away. And we get an incoming missile, incoming EM missile, launching chaff and stuff. Oh! Well, so much for that. The damage states, once again, those are pretty sweet, watching your spacecraft disintegrate into a bunch of parts. Or look at this Avenger, sorry. It's an Avenger with a giant hole blown through it. I'm guessing if he was carrying any prisoners, they have now been lost into space since the hull integrity is gone. Anyway, we now have 4,500 points as opposed to 8,281, so I am catching up. That 8,281 is the highest score in the round right now, so if I can beat that, then I can possibly get to the end. Safe Milk once again, getting a lock on, and off it goes. Next, Cam. Lock, and right away. And I killed Safe Milk, so I'm now up to 5,000 points. Next one, Horizons, and now I'm getting Forced Error. The mighty Forced Error message, which apparently corresponds to I just killed someone. Oh, one more death. But it doesn't really matter, as long as the person that got that kill wasn't the person at the top of the table. The person at the top of the table is no doubt flying around trying to do some fancy dogfighting, whereas I am literally just flying in, firing off my 4 missiles and dying as quickly as the game will let me. This is a terrible strategy, but actually it's the best way to win. Well, I mean, here's the thing. If you have a missile which is carried by a vehicle, it is going to be able to accelerate faster than the vehicle by default. Therefore, with a properly accurate, capable guidance computer, There is no way to outmaneuver a missile in space since it has more acceleration than any spacecraft which is designed to sustain human life. Missiles are a lot smaller and they can spin around without getting the pilot dizzy. Okay, so 4 missiles away, initiate self-destruct and try to stay alive. Really, I just need to self-destruct to make sure that I get another load of missiles back as quickly as possible. Bingo. Get out of there, and by self-destructing I also tried to make sure that I didn't give anyone else any points by letting them kill me, because I'm still chasing that guy at the top of the table. 11,000, oh, 13,000 Horizons. Horizons apparently is the one to go for because I saw him get a kill and the score went up to 13,000. I'm not sure what kind of spacecraft he is flying, but I do have a lock-on the right side here. So as soon as I get a missile lock... Oh, no, he's hiding behind there. Pick another target, quickly. There we go. Lock missile. And launch. And immediately switch to another target, hoping that that missile will kill the target in question. There's someone there. Oh, Horizons! Yes, come on. He is in an Avenger. Well, so much for his Avenger. Last anti-hero. Oh, I only damaged him. But I still get a bunch of points for that. Last anti-hero is in a Hornet and will probably die. So time for me to self-destruct. And now we are 13,470 to 13,103. I have taken the lead despite joining the game 6 minutes into it. So in a total of 5 minutes, I am now pulled into the lead. And I have not done so by fancy flying, I have entirely done so by spamming missiles. Yes, missiles are overpowered. They will be fixed by the developers. You got to think about the way missiles get balanced in other games. In Elite Dangerous, the missiles are very good. However, they are very, very expensive, and they're almost too expensive to be used regularly. They're the kind of things you use as a last resort to save yourself from hostiles. And I require a final kill. 16,000. Oh! One more death. So I've got 16,050. Now I need to kill one more pilot to cement my position at the top of the kill board. Oh, look, that is a Hornet Ghost. Somebody is doing a stealth Hornet. I sincerely, well, I'm really interested to see how those things fly, whether the signature really makes a big difference. Okay, give me a target. Any target. I just need the one. Ooh, what is that sound? There's Safe Milk. Not quite in range. Okay, one missile. Oh, no. Okay, Horizon now needs a final kill. Well, let's get a missile on him. Ah, and he's disappeared as well. What does he do? Did he go secret? Mad Docs. Come on, this final kill. I do not want to lose out because I missed the final kill. Missile away. And let's send another one his way. Okay, so we got him. And we got 4 Hey, I killed him! Wait, or no, he died. What the heck? I should have won. I've got incoming missile. Last anti-hero. Die. Oh, no. Oh, yes. Haha. Excellent. 19,738. I may have won the battle, but I've probably lost some respect from people out there. I'm sure I could fly well, but really, missile spam is just so overpowered at this time, so I'm sure they'll fix it. But until then, you know, I'll see you out there firing missiles. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.